In recent years, there's been a lot of flops in video games. So many bad ones that I can name the good ones on one hand. Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Dredge, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Today I want to highlight some bad games. Games that either flopped in sales or gameplay or both. And we're starting strong with one of the most embarrassing releases to date, The Day Before. Have you ever seen a game that's so incredibly bad that the entire company shuts down? Well, that's The Day Before. Fantastic was founded in 2015 in Yakutsk, pretty sure I butchered that, in Russia, by Edward and Asen, and since 2015 they had several titles under their belt. They started with The Wild 8, which received massive praise and still holds positive reviews in 2024. However, the game was sold off in November 2017, only 9 months after its initial release in February due to internal conflicts. And then in 2018 they released the Radiant one, which is still held by them and has less than 200 positive reviews, and you can buy it for a whopping 99 cents. In 2021, they released Prop Night, a horror version of Prop Hunt that was actually fun to play with friends. Sadly, it shut down on January 22nd, 2024, and during its run, it was neglected and left without updates for a while. And we finally reached The Day Before. When it was first announced, I was very excited for the game because I thought it would be like The Division 2, an open world with zombies lurking in buildings, and I'm sure 90% of players thought the same thing. So during the process of waiting on release, there was several bumps that made people feel less and less confident and fantastic. Started out with the first delay, then the dispute behind the name of the game, and finally the released gameplay trailer. Of course, I was hopeful that the game would be good because I was drawn to their gun customization, and when it was released, I couldn't leave the first room because the door glitched. And I had hoped that the game would get better for after a while, but instead of waiting for that, I refunded my money, and I'm glad everyone got their refunds. The issue was that the game developers themselves were too lost in their own sauce. They pulled a DJ Khaled. No one believed in us. We're number one. Another one. They talked about how they didn't take any money from players. They didn't crowdfund anything. And the reality is, if they had done that, then the game would still be on Steam. But they pulled the plug before even trying to fix anything. They had a hissy fit and threw in the towel. There were other issues besides the game being bad. With zero creativity and bad sales, Fantastic closes doors with only one project left on Steam, and that's the Radiant one. Then we go down the rabbit hole and find less bad releases, like Redfall, Cyberpunk 2077, Forspoken, No Man's Sky. But the differences between all of those and The Day Before is that despite the game being bad, they had redeeming qualities. Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky had great teams behind them, and they both worked tirelessly to make their games better. And now Cyberpunk is good, and No Man's Sky is too damn big for me to get into or explore, but I know for a fact that the game is better now. The rest of the game on there are still shit, especially Forspoken. I actually played it, didn't buy it, played the demo, and was okay with it, but even in the demo, the main character was unbearable for 15 minutes. Like, you have to have a serious problem if no one can bear to listen to you for 15 minutes. And trust me, this isn't a Gamergate thing or whatever. I love women in gaming, if they're actually well written. I went and googled what game has the most dialogue. And Red Dead Redemption 2 apparently has 500,000 lines, and I played that game from start to finish. And the difference is simple. If I'm traveling from point A to point B, and point B is really far away, Arthur doesn't interrupt me every 2 seconds with the most meaningless thing to say. 500,000 lines of dialogue, and I'm interrupted during an encounter out in the wild. Also, 500,000 lines of dialogue, and Forspoken doesn't have nearly half that, and they still managed to interrupt me. It's amazing. Forspoken could have been a good game since I really enjoyed their upgrade system and liked how the different nail polish can be mixed with other powers. But they decided to poorly write the main character and give the bracelet dumber lines than what the main character says. Now, could they have fixed the issue? Yes. They could have added minimal dialogue option in the settings that limit the main character from speaking during exploration. High on Life offers to make the enemy and gun chatter to a minimal so that your experience isn't interrupted. I personally enjoyed the bullshit they spew and actually had fun playing it with those options set to default. Sometimes what makes a bad game bad is a multitude of things. Bad choices from developers, bad takes from publishers, bad gameplay, or characters. And sometimes it's the community that makes the game unfun to play. I really like Rainbow Rainbow Six Siege. And sometimes I get on there just to be insulted by my own team. I get it, Janice, this is quick play. I'm not trying to sweat here, so why are you yelling at me? And sometimes single player games are too taxing to get into. And even if the idea of the game is fun and whimsical, like Suicide Squad, sometimes the game is just poorly written. Let's scrap the downgrade of visuals. Let's skip the fact that the game is on online servers. Just focus on the poorly written game. The idea of playing the villain has always been cool. It's never executed properly. Only game that did it so well is Shadow of the Colossus back in 2005, almost 20 years ago. And spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played it, yeah, you're evil for killing those poor things. And Justice League fails in spectacular fashion. They wanted players to return week after week to do certain missions to avoid piracy by making the game online, but was met with the opposite of their desired by having everyone collectively hate the fucking game. I mean, they hated them more than they hated Naughty Dog for killing off Joel. And I'm sorry to all of you with daddy issues, but Joel needed to die to move the plot forward. Batman died a needless death and put a sour taste in everyone's mouth by disrespecting Kevin Conroy's final work, a beloved voice actor in the gaming sphere. Yet many game companies continue to make the same mistake over and over again. They never learn from their peers not to make these dog shit decisions. Just like Ubisoft in these streets, claiming you don't own shit, even if you paid for the game, they still have the right to remove it from your library. Like you've been a naughty boy and need your toys removed until you behave and get a little spanking. They say these bad takes as if the internet is gonna forgive and forget, but get slammed hard with over 100,000 dislikes before the release of Star Wars Outlaws. And I never watched a single Star Wars, nor do I want to, but I'm still excited to try the game because I prefer that medium over sci-fi movies. But I'm amazed at the pricing. And if they walk it back, then Ubisoft is a soft company. You can pay $130 to get the digital art book. I mean, that's cool, I guess. You know, you get to see the images that'll be on Google a week earlier than everyone. That's pretty neat. Now you might think that the day before has made the worst decision in video game history, and you'd be right. But the second pick has to go to Escape from Tarkov lead developer Nikita. They released several versions of the game which differ in price ranges. There's the standard Left Behind, Prepare for Escape, and the limited edition Edge of Darkness with prices from $50 to $100. When they released Edge of Darkness, they told the owners of the copy that any future DLC will be provided for them for free as long as they pay for this edition. However, they released the Unheard, which offers a ridiculous amount of pay-to-win add-ons to the holders of the version, which of course had a massive blowback from the community, but what could have been fixed easily now changed to an even worse backlash, because anyone who owns the Edge of Darkness limited edition will not have access to any of the new added bonuses unless they pay an extra $150, since the Unheard edition is 250 clams. So instead of backtracking and taking what they said back, Nikita doubled down and decided to offer a limited time to the owners of Edge of Darkness to experience the Unheard before sending them back to the Shadow Realm. The Unheard offers a PvE game mode which eliminates the threat of PvP and allows players to experience Escape from Tarkov as a single-player game mode, and possibly co-op. I'm not 100% sure about that. However, Nikita took to Reddit to explain that PvE is not a DLC, and that to his understanding, DLCs mean a major addition to the game. And this one is simply a game mode. But not all endings are sad endings. They decided to backtrack again and offer PvE in waves for the Edge of Darkness edition. And they are still keeping the Unheard available for anyone who wants to support the game more. But this isn't really the happiest of endings. I mean, I'm not smoking a cigarette and crying after it. The people are concerned, what's to stop them from doing this again? They removed Edge of Darkness, so what's to stop them from removing Unheard and adding a new edition with more money? In all fairness, they did decide to balance some of the pay-to-win add-ons, but not totally remove it and actually give it to the EOD owners. So I suppose there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel for Escape from Tarkov, but it could possibly be a flashlight on a shotgun waiting for you to get close before blasting you to visit Hades. Between the beef of Kendrick Lamar and Drake, Sony decided to start nope. Let's go back in time and talk about the fallen soldiers of the console war. The ones who fought tooth and nail to determine whose console is better. Is it PlayStation or is it Xbox? And 10 years ago, I would have said the competition is close. 5 years ago, I would have said I don't care, I own a PC now. And today, I can comfortably say the PlayStation has won over Xbox. And it's not even because the PlayStation did anything. I mean, they reverted the stupid decision to connect Helldiver's Steam account to a PSN, but ultimately, Xbox died on its own sword. They decided to shut down several studios that delivered games like Redfall and Hi-Fi Rush. And Matt Booty, the destroyer of businesses, the lead director of bad choices, stated that they require small games that give them prestige and awards. He's confused and doesn't understand that Hi-Fi Rush did exactly that. I didn't even play it and still voted for it to win, because I knew what the game entails. I can't imagine Xbox is making much money anyways, considering the Xbox Game Pass exists. No wonder they shut down the studios. Even a game like Hellblade 2 is coming to the Xbox Game Pass this month, and I already paid for it in anticipation. I don't need to pay $60 for a game when I can pay $10 a month and play the entire game from start to finish. The only downside is that the Xbox Game Pass app on Windows is a pain to deal with. But besides that, I'll pay $10 for a library of games than $60 for one game. So what's the point of this video? Honestly, nothing. I'm waiting this while I'm hyped up on caffeine and gonna record it right away. I realize that my channel does really well for one video and then flops the next. So why not make a video about games that flopped or will flop and have a perfect fit in video? Anyway, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you'd be so kind to subscribe, that'll be really great. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oof. Oh, God damn it. Ooh.